Hey everyone, today I'm going to be sending in my very first submission to CBCS. If you're interested in seeing exactly what I'm sending to them and also why I'm sending them a submission in the first place, stick around. Let's take a look. Hello to all my friends out there in YouTube land. It is your good buddy Philtastic Phil here. Welcome back to my channel. So as I said, I'm sending in my very first submission to CBCS. I've never sent anything to them before. I've always used CGC in the past, but I chose to give them a shot. To be honest, I've been thinking about it a while, but really the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge was when I got that mystery mail call from Comic Tom about a month and change ago. If you didn't see that video, I'll put a link somewhere and you can check it out. I really like that Wolverine variant, and to be honest with you, the new one that they've got coming out with Venom looks interesting too, so I might check that out. But regardless, in addition to some really cool covers, I did get one of these golden tickets, kind of like in Willy Wonka. I didn't really know too much about it, but after researching it, it is kind of a scarce thing. It's not in every single box, so he doesn't give these out to everybody, and I figured let me take advantage of this. The way it works is I send in 5 books and include this ticket. Go to the website, fill out all the forms, which I've done already. I'm not going to show you the front of the form, but there it is. Submit the comics, and then it's a buy 4, get 1 free coupon. So I'm sending in 4 submissions and getting one of them on the house, or on Tom, however you want to swing it. So what am I sending in? Now first, as I mentioned, I've always sent in to CGC before. I've never sent it to CBCS. And the one major difference that I've been looking at as far as what CBCS goes, regardless of turnaround time, because they each have their different schedules at this point, is the fact that CBCS will authenticate a signature. I do have a fair amount of signatures in my collection that were not witnessed or not done in front of anyone, or at least not in front of a CGC witness, I should say. So I figured maybe this is a good opportunity to get some of these authenticated. So let me show you what I've sent, and what I'm sending in rather. And this is after several hours, I guess you could say, of deliberating. The first is I'm sending in Agents of Atlas #1, signed by Greg Pak, and you see it came with a COA from Midtown Comics. Interesting story with the COA. I had 2 quick thoughts. First, I know that Midtown does a lot of signings for CGC. Being that this has a certificate of authenticity, I figured, let me see if CGC would just take this and yellow label it. I didn't think that they would, to be honest with you, but I figure I'll give it a shot. Sure enough, they won't, and they explain that it's, you know, if it was coming right from Midtown, that'd be one thing, but it's coming from me, you know, that's passed through other hands. So I could understand that, and I figured, let me take a shot in the dark anyway. The other thing I did was I did ask CBCS, hey, do you want me to include these COAs? And they said, well, you can. They didn't promise that it meant anything more. And I said, well, will I get them back? And they said no. So what they did tell me to do was to make a note on my actual invoice, or include a separate piece of paper. So I included actually 2 copies of invoices, and I put a little note to whoever looks at it, just saying, hey, I spoke to Roxanne in customer service. She told me to note blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to do, and I actually have a couple here that have COAs, I'm going to take out the COA and put it aside somewhere safe where I presumably won't forget it, so that when I do finally get them back from CBCS, maybe I'll just like stick it on back of it, just for my records. I figure I've had it. If I have it, why not hold on to it? Okay, the next one is one that I've had in my collection for quite a while. I'm not sure exactly how long, to be honest with you. I do remember I got this for about $5, and that was most likely many moons ago, but this is a Moon Knight #1, signed by Jim Shooter, and it has a COA from Catch a Star Collectibles in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is no longer in business. I did a little research on that. I do have a fair amount of signed comics that do have certificates of authenticity, and it was just at the time whenever these were purchased, either the companies themselves like CGC weren't around, or that's the only thing you had to go on. And I can understand why the grading companies don't accept these. I mean, really, they're just pieces of paper that you could pretty much just print up on any printer nowadays. But I figure we'll include that. Here's a picture of it without the COA in case you were curious. I should also note that I've been out of bags and boards for a while, so I'm sending these in the original bags and boards that they've either come in or that I've had them in. This one is going to be a little interesting. This is a signature I've had in my collection for probably 15 years, give or take. I suspected that this is a fake signature for the mere fact that this book only cost me $3. And this always stuck out in the back of my mind. I said, I picked up for $3 because I figure, look, if it's a real signature, great. If not, well, I got a good price for a comic that now has gotten a little bit of attention. And that is Spawn number 1, allegedly signed by Todd McFarlane. So, I mean, I know his signature has varied over the years. I don't know how authentic that one looks, but I figured now I'm going to use this opportunity to find that out. The second is from one of my all-time favorite artists, who I got to meet on 3 occasions, and I've had 2 great meetings with him, and 1 really not so great. This was the first time I met him, and this was a really great meeting. This was actually at the Montclair Museum of Art here in New Jersey. Montclair, New Jersey, had a comic book show and exhibit. This was, I want to say, back in 2007, 2008, I think 2008. I've actually got a couple of great pieces there, but one of the big draws was that the Kubert School had sponsored the event, and both Adam Kubert, and if I could be wrong, I think Joe Kubert was also there. But I did get a signed Ultimate X-Men number 15 from Adam Kubert. And this was my favorite issue of the series at the time. Of the series, I should say, at the time. And I did get a Superman Action Comics, it's right here, signed by him as well. This was just when he started his Action Comics run. And to be honest with you, I was kind of thinking about, do I want to send this one in? Do I want to send this one in? But at the end of the day, I chose this Ultimate X-Men just because I thought the cover was nicer and would present better. Use that silver ink marker on it, excuse the glare. And as I said, this was my favorite issue of Ultimate X-Men at the time, back to February 2002. Jeez, it's almost 20 years at this point. Finally, this was a book I had signed in 2016. My wife and I attended Garden State Comic Fest, which was right around the corner. It was at the Menon Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. And I got to meet my favorite Wolverine writer of all time. A guy who I think really wrote more about Wolverine, I think, than any other single writer I can think of on the planet. And that was Mr. Larry Hama. And this is Wolverine number 50, signed by Larry Hama. And I remember I was really excited to meet him, and I was glad that I did, because one of the things he was doing is he was charging for signatures, but anything that you gave him, he had a note saying that it was going towards Vietnam veterans. So I was happy that I got to get one of my favorite books from my collection signed, and also help out a good cause as well. I have gotten a chance to actually, I guess you could say, be in a class with Larry Hama. He actually was one of the presenters in a class I took at the Kubert School in writing, and he is definitely one of my favorite writers, again, of all time. So let me go ahead and pack it up here. So I've saved my materials from prior unboxings that you may or may not have seen on this channel. So I'm going to be reusing most of these materials as much as I can. Let me seal this up. That part might be a little bit boring to you, but I'll seal this first Gemini mailer up, and then I'm going to put it inside of another box surrounded by bubble wrap. Okay, so step 1 is done. I've taped all the comics together using painter's tape. Then I taped the actual Gemini shut, and I again taped the inner fold of the Gemini to the outer area of the box here, as you can see. I've never really used Gemini mailers before, and again, this is a recycled Gemini mailer, so I may or may not have been doing it right, but I'm pretty satisfied that this area here is protected so far. Next, I'm taking the invoice, and I've again stapled a duplicate copy of the invoice to with that note here, and I'm going to be taping that in here too, and I'll use that Gemini. I'll use the painter's tape as well, just to include that on here. I'm trying to make it so that it's easy for them to see it, and also rip it off without any tears or whatnot. Okay, and now in front of that one, I will be taping in front of the invoice, I should say, that one, I'll be taping my Comic Tom golden ticket per the instructions, front and center, so that they cannot miss it. And I'm doing this not only to show you a video and of course to put a little content in, but also to kind of document exactly what I'm doing. So if something goes awry, and they're like, hey, we didn't get your shipment, or it didn't include the ticket. Yes, you did, and here's the proof. Yes, I did, rather, and here's the proof. Okay. So now the Gemini mailer is closed. Oh, I've got this extra layer here. Okay, so I put another piece of cardboard in there just to protect the whole thing. In fact, let's tape that down too. And I know some people might be like, hey, you're using a lot more tape than you need to. But in my estimation, if I could use a little bit more tape to save anything from getting damaged, then I'd use just enough tape. I'd rather use... That was an okay sound, don't worry. I'd rather use more than I need than not enough of what I need, especially when it comes to shipping comics out. I could tell you one thing I wasn't happy about when I was taking a look at CBCS was they do exclusively use FedEx, and as I've documented in the past, FedEx and I do not have a very good track record. I don't know what it is. Apparently the FedEx people in my area, at least, just like to drop kick packages to my door rather than place it. So hopefully that's not the case here. Okay, so the inner box is all sealed up, and I'm pretty confident that this is very well protected. Now let me go ahead and get the outer box ready for you. Yeah, I should note that I do follow, of course, a lot of different YouTube videos, and everybody has their own kind of packing basics, and I kind of made this an amalgam out of how Reggie packs his stuff, and having ordered from Reggie before, I could tell you he is the best packer when it comes to comics that I have ever encountered. In fact, if his day job does not work out and he wants to open up a UPS store or a FedEx store or something like that, I think he'd make a killing just with collectibles. Matt Woods also has a number of good videos on packing. He actually has one that's really good on signature boxes. I didn't send anything for signatures in yet. I might be doing that towards the end of the month. But just wanted to show you what I did here. I packed my inner box, that inner packing I had just shown you, the Gemini mailer, in a couple different layers of packing tape, and I went a crisscross method, not like the rappers who had their pants backwards. Is one of them dead now? I feel like one of them may have died, but I don't think it was anything to do with their pants or whatnot. I'd love to play a little bit of crisscross, not really, but in the background here, but YouTube will shut that down very quickly. If you know what happened to crisscross, just go ahead and leave a comment below, and we'll discuss. Maybe never, maybe someday. But either way, I've crisscrossed about 6 different layers of bubble tape around this here. I'm then going to wrap this in another layer of bubble tape. I might actually do a second layer. Some of these look a little deflated. All of my bubble tape, by the way, is just repurposed packaging along with the box itself. I figured, why throw these things out? They still have some life in them. I think that's environmentally conscious and also very economically conscious as well. Price of everything is rising up. I haven't checked the price of bubble wrap, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll prepare this, then I'll come back to the next step. Okay, so what I decided to do after I packaged that up is I put the whole thing in another plastic bag. I figure in case any moisture gets in the box, and sealed that at the top. And then I have another layer of bubble wrap on the bottom and on the top of the box. And on the very top of the box, I'm including a third copy of the invoice. Is this overkill? Maybe. Probably. Yeah, it is. But I figure I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I've done the shake test. This thing is not moving anywhere. I am now going to seal up my box. And I'll address this, and I'll be dropping this off at my shipping store tomorrow morning. The current turnaround time for CBCS, including pressing and signature verification, as of Friday, is 24 weeks. So that'll put me at roughly about 6 months. That's nothing. I've been waiting for CGC for 6 months now on two separate, one was a purchase rather, and one was something I sent in. So, yeah, I guess we'll be seeing these in 6 months. When it comes back in, tune in. Let's see how we did. Thank you again for checking out this channel. I do hope that you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up if you'd like. Go ahead and comment on this video. How crazy is my packing method? What was your favorite crisscross song? What did you think of some of the books that I decided to send in? And do you think maybe the signature authentication was the best way to do this? By the way, before I forget, I did call ahead to CBCS and I asked them exactly how it's going to work if I'm doing signature verification. They say that on the fifth book, as far as the golden ticket goes, the grading of that would be gratis. The actual pressing and signature verification, anything really that you do other than grading, would be charged. And I can understand that. I thought that was fair. Special thanks to Comic Tom 101 if you watch this video for the golden ticket. And I'll be sure to tag you when these come back to let you know exactly how I did. Thank you again for checking out this channel. I do appreciate you doing so. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, love, and comics. Take care.